My name is Luis. I'm 29. I come from Argentina. I've been living in Germany around 3.5 years in Frankfurt. And yeah, I had like a background about 7+ years in marketing and technology. So digital marketing, working with websites, SEO strategies, also paid advertising. And in the last 2.5 years, working more with website personalization and a little bit of IT project management as well. I joined the community around the beginning of September.
And what challenge were you facing before joining JobSys Academy?
The main one was not getting interviews, but I think behind that there's a lot of other challenges like yeah, doubts, self-doubt of okay, is this the correct CV? Am I applying for the right type of job? Like self-confidence. I think behind that comes a lot of things. But I would say I was not getting any interviews at all, and I need to revamp my CV I mean, the format that I was using was wrong. So, starting from there was like the best quick win or easy fix. Um, but then also like I also had the trouble or the problem of saying like I'm not sure what I want actually. Like I knew sort of what I wanted, but I wasn't sure if I was good enough for that. So I think self-confidence was also another issue. And I was like, applying to a lot of different things, not really being grounded or filtering for the things that I wanted and just ignoring everything else. So I think that was an issue. Also, like I don't know how many posts I saved on LinkedIn about these prompts that will revamp your CV, and there's a lot of like noise out there on LinkedIn about like the easy win or how to land interviews, and they were just not working honestly.
And what was the result of joining system September? You've been like more or less for 2 months.
Yeah.
Um, what has been the result of getting into the academy?
Results. So I would start saying interviews for sure. I joined, and I mean lucky enough, I mean not lucky enough, but I already had some progress. So I didn't have to do a lot in terms of, for example, LinkedIn. I had a lot of progress in there, like on my personal sort of profile and whatever. But I had to redo the CV and all this thing. So I think what it should take 3 weeks, I did it in 1.5, something like this. In the first 3 weeks, I was able to send also 45 applications or something like this. And from there, it was really funny because I posted on the community, and I said, hey, I already sent 45. Where are my interviews? Sort of saying like, should I do something different or like, what do you guys think? And like 10 or maybe an hour after this, I got the first invite for the first interview. And I was like, oh, this is working actually. Um, and then from there, I was like, okay, this works. I just need to do more of the same, right? And I think I got interviews, which was the first thing I needed to get as a win. But also, I think the biggest win for me was to really, really believe in myself, to get this mindset and to get these systems of accountability, um, and to get feedback, honestly, like to get feedback from from you three girls. I think this is super valuable because you are alone in this process, and I think you don't have to be. And this is one of the most valuable things that you have someone out there that says like, you are doing things right, or you could do this better. And I think I heard Sid saying this the other day, and usually we always think we're doing things the right way, and we don't take let's say criticism in a good way most of the times. But I think this helps you to do it. Like this helps you to understand that criticism is necessary, and like to make mistakes is necessary for you to find the right materials in terms of CV, cover letter, or LinkedIn, the right approach you want to do on networking, or the right way to speak in an interview. Like all of these things, uncomfortable things, are necessary to do in order for you to find like also how do you want to show up for the process, and yeah, who are you trying to be when it comes to landing this job. And I think, it was a snowball. Like interviews came, I started like posting a lot in the community because this helped me see, okay, I'm gaining points. I'm there in the leaderboard. Um, I'm also like
Hmm.
sharing my process helped me like realize, okay, I'm doing this, I'm going through this, and I want to get to be like the hardest worker in the room, and I want to motivate myself by seeing what I do, but also like maybe help others in the process. And I learned a lot of things, like also to put the systems in place, like to organize my routine, to change my mindset, to understand like what does it mean actually to um embrace the losses, and to how to grow from them and how to learn from them. I think this was the most valuable thing because you get consistency from this, and from this consistency you can apply it in everywhere in any area of your life. And yeah, I think the of course the biggest win was to get a job. I got a job offer. I got two job offers. One was before I started the process, but this process gave me the strength enough to say no to the first job offer because it was like not something. It didn't feel right, in my body. It was like, I mean, the process was nice. They gave me the contract, but when I read it, there were some clauses that were like super red flags, and I was like, this is not for me. Like I have time, I have value, I know what I want, I know like what's my worth. And I think before joining the community, this was a little bit blurry. And after I joined, this helped me to believe a bit more in myself and also to be nicer to myself in the sense of what I deserve and erase these limiting beliefs and a lot of things. Uh, but yeah, I think summarizing was like 120 applications I sent. From that came 10 interviews. And from those 10 interviews, I got a job offer, which, I'm finalizing signing this week. And yeah, that was the goal at the end. I wanted to get more job offers. But the time wasn't, I mean, 2 months is also short, I think, in a scale of people have been looking for a job for 6 or even a year. So the market is tough. The economy is also tough in Germany. So and everyone's process is different. Like, if you compare yourself with someone who joined 2 weeks and got 3, 4 job offers, you don't know what's their background, what was the progress so far. There's so many variables that need to come together and planets need to align. So I'm overall super happy, with my results.
One question for you. What made you decide to join? Because you were the first ones.
I
You,
was I was one of the first ones, yeah, one
yeah.
of the first Jedis.
Yes. Oh, geez.
I run into the community on LinkedIn. I saw like that you show up on my feed somehow, thankfully, and I saw you were promoting this free webinar about job market in Germany and how to overcome these challenges for foreigners. And I think it was super clear. Like the message was really well communicated. Like if you are a foreigner in Germany and you're struggling with landing jobs that don't require German or like just landing interviews or whatever, just this is for you. And I joined the webinar. I I got to know like a little bit of U3, and then at the beginning the offering was a bit over my budget, so I was like, okay, this is nice. I will keep this in mind. But I didn't join right away, and then you came with this community feature, which was like way more affordable for me, and I didn't. It was like I didn't doubt it because like no really loss, it's just and I can get to learn something. And I had this mentality of back then trying things, and you know, I think I should try a different approach. I took the chance because I said, okay, there's few people. I need to take this chance because the feedback is going to be more personalized, even if it's like for a community. There are going to be more chances to get more feedback on the calls, to jump in and, practice some interviews or ask specific questions. And I think it's been a really pleasant experience to work with you, all of you, and also to work with the people who have been joining. Um, And yeah, I mean, I think the community itself gets a lot of positive vibes, and uh, I think you notice people are there because they want to achieve a goal, and they also support the people who are like working towards it. I think there's a lot of value in celebrating other people's wins. I learn a lot from that, and uh, you're like every win you celebrate from someone else, it's like you feel you're getting closer to your own win. And also you get to know people from your own background, same background, and maybe they apply for the same type of jobs, and you get to know specific things about like what were they asked, or like how did they apply, and what type of CV did they use, and so many valuable things that you would not really get alone. I mean, it's not like you cannot do this alone, but I think it's just you don't really have to. And there are so many benefits of doing it with someone, and with a group and with a community. And you have so much value, like from the basic thing, which is like the modules and just for you to study and to apply yourself, to the variable calls you have, like there is like calls to review the CV, calls to welcome people to a community, and also to network with new people, to practice interviews, which is something super valuable. Like this is super hard to do alone. Like I think even if it's possible, and to find someone that has the time to help you with this is like super hard. And the feedback, constant feedback, like, hey, you can do this better, or like, good work, you're in the right path, keep going. And this means a lot. I think the small things are the ones that account for the biggest in the process. Like the small tweak on your CV, or like reviewing two times the intro you're going to say for the next interview. The process of starting to post on LinkedIn for me was so transforming, because I got to own my narrative so much. I think that's the most powerful thing you can do. Like sometimes you have the feeling like, I got laid off of my job uh on the, like, I would say, last days of June, like the end of June. Um and the first thing I thought was like, oh my God, this is embarrassing, like you got laid off. It means probably you're not good enough, and you are not valuable enough for a company. So it probably means you're not good enough to get another job. You get a lot of these negative things. And I think what changed for me, I did just one post on LinkedIn, and I said, okay, I'm just gonna tell my story. And I think this was the post that got the highest resonance, because I said, I was laid off, but this is my story. And people empathize so much with me that I say, okay, there is something here. There is something in owning your narrative, and speaking from, who you are, and without bullshit. There's always, you can make it sound nicer, and like to direct it somewhere. But I sort of kind of had a change of perspective, or say, okay, here's the key, like really, really owning your narrative and who you are, and like the most um faithful you can be to your personality. I think the best it can be for how you create content, or how you approach yourself to, you know, jobs and people and whatever in your life. And
One last question to wrap this up is, would you recommend it to other people?
yeah, of course, definitely, 100%, without doubt. And I think I mentioned a lot of the benefits. And if I had to mention all my wins, this would be a super long call. But I think uh, if I had to mention like some things, maybe the first one is like you get the chance of, not, first of all, not being alone. And you get to know people who are like going through the same thing that you are going through. And I think as human being, that's the most powerful thing you can like get to be in contact with, right? Like, support groups are no joke. Like when you tell a friend like a problem you have, and he went through the same thing, you feel like you're not alone. And I think this a really like a first super important step to for you to say, okay, if this person went through it and they succeeded, why not me, right? And to start changing this mindset of I can't, to a mindset of I can, and why not me? Like, of course I can. From there on, I think everything is just a snowball. I mean, you need to put the work. And I think for me, it was like, sure, CV, cover letter, interview practice, like everything. This is like the 20%. Like you need to trick this maybe once, and you need to really, really good. Like you need to take your time to say, okay, which three roles I'm aiming to, how I'm going to build my CV, um, yeah, cover letter on, and also like companies and so on. Like you don't need to tweak this every time, but once you're super sure of this and confident, and you got the feedback, which is super valuable, then the 80% doesn't change. You know, like you have to hustle, 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 send as much applications as you can, network with as much people as you can through LinkedIn. I think networking is super powerful as well. Like learning how to do this without feeling weird, losing this embarrassment of saying, like, "Oh my God, I'm looking for a job. I look needy." I think no one cares about that. Like people,
Mm.
you'll be surprised of how much people actually want to help you, and the lengths they would go to. Like it's also nice, a nice experience. Like not everyone's gonna help you, but it doesn't matter. Like at least you're making some noise, right? Like people are noticing you, and I think that's better that than people not noticing you at all. So to wrap it up, I would say if you feel like you don't know what if you're doing it's right or not, and you feel like you're overwhelmed and you have some sort of thought doubts on your process, I would definitely join and start doing the small work to get toward that job you dream. And I think super possible.